Welcome. Welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You. This is a long 14 years that I've been saying that. But welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You. I'm Roberta Saphire, an attorney in Sharon, Massachusetts, USA.
And I'm Camille Barron. I'm a financial organizer and healthcare advisor also in Sharon, Massachusetts, USA. And yes, Roberta, people have been asking us, how long have you been doing the show? And it's hard to believe, 14 years already.
And they also want to know, how did we meet? I get a lot of
Do you?
things. Yeah, how did we meet? Do you remember how we met?
I do. Yes, you want me to tell the audience?
Yeah, go ahead, you tell. I'm sure I'll interrupt you.
Okay, it's okay. We've gotten used to communicating the way we do. Yes, so back in 2009, I think,
Whatever it was.
I was working in financial services at MetLife,
Oh,
and
yeah. MetLife.
I decided to start a group for financial empowerment where people would
remember
come and we'd talk about ways to literally empower yourself financially. And Roberta, you and I had been communicating about that.
Yeah,
but-
when to meet, you wanted to have a meeting and
Right.
this and that, and I said, well, the library, that time I was a library trustee.
It was a
I said-
library.
I said, you can have a meeting at the library.
Yes, and
you didn't know that.
I didn't know that,
But
so you
so
wouldn't-
far, stories are right.
so far, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you correct me. Yeah, so I found out from you that we could have this group at the library, and you and I communicated for a while about the specifics of that, and you were going to be coming to it. But it turned out that the night that I was actually going to run the group, you couldn't make it. So you said, I'm sending my husband to the meeting. I was sort of a kick out of that. I'm sending my husband. So in walks this very handsome, kind-looking gentleman
Oh.
named Jerry Saphire.
Oh, that's so nice.
And he sat with us and we talked a lot. One of the first things he told us is that he had, at the time, how many grandchildren would he have had? Would it have been,
Oh.
Cade wasn't born yet, and of course
Tate
Jason's
was
children.
born in 2000. Tate's number 3.
Oh,
There's
okay.
Zev, Kaylee, Tate, Ariella.
So, yes, but so Karina had been born, but Cade hadn't yet.
Oh, Karina had been born?
Yes, she was a little
she's
thing.
15.
She's
oh,
15.
There you go. She's
yeah.
15.
She was just a tiny, well, not tiny, but she was just a little toddler. Cade hadn't been born, and of course, your 2 grandchildren in California hadn't been born.
Oh,
so
yeah,
they were
and
nine,
four and
nine
3.
grandchildren, and he told us all about that. Anyway, we were standing outside after the meeting, Jerry and I were talking, and you called Jerry on his cell phone, and he answered the phone, and he said, I'm standing with Camille here right now, and he said, why don't you come over so you two can meet?
Yeah,
And that's how we met.
Yeah, and then I told you, well, at the same time that we sat down, you started this. I said, you know, I wanted to start a law group, you know, about the law. And in fact, at that time, I had sent out questionnaires for this law thing that I was doing. And throughout my mailing list, I sent out questions in the law that asking people for the questions, because it's so easy to come up with answers, but it's hard to come up with questions. And you said, well, I want to do one on financial literacy. So we decided to join it and call it The Law, Your Money, and You.
That's right. That's how it all started.
Yeah, and
It
we
was
kept
just
that.
it was just sort of meant to be. And we've been very good friends and been doing the show and many other activities surrounding the show for 14 years.
And I don't think we ever had an argument.
No.
We might have had a difference of opinion, but we talked it out and always went smoothly. You're the best thing that's ever happened
Well, I agree. We
to me,
we
to
do get along
anybody.
really well.
Yeah, really wonderful. And so now we're talking about one of the first things that's a question that a lot of people have. How did we meet? How did we meet? How did we meet?
Yes.
But then the very first show we had, we're still getting questions on.
Yes.
And I don't think the law has changed that much. and the question is about the neighbor.
The neighbors, yes.
The neighbors. So today's question, back then it was the tree. Their tree is on your lawn, you're going to cut it, or you're not going to cut it, it falls on you. What's the obligation?
Right.
But this one is the neighbor goes away. What happened? The neighbor goes away.
Yes, the neighbor goes away, and they gave permission to their next door neighbors. They gave permission, well, they asked the neighbors to water the lawn and the flowers and so forth. And they said, and by the way, if it's a hot day and you feel like going into our pool, feel free.
Yeah, but they didn't, I know the question came in, but they didn't say for how long a time this was going to go on.
No, they didn't.
So it depends too,
Mm.
how long. But the thing is, they say, well, if something happened in the pool, who's responsible? And that opens up a whole Rubik's Cube type of thing, right? So, and you got the insurance on this. I got what the law is, it's different. That's why it's a good bar exam question too. You can go one way or the other. The thing is, if somebody got hurt because you left the fence open or the lock open or anything else, whoever did that, they're responsible. However, if somebody got hurt in the pool and it's through no fault of your neighbor,
Of the owner, you mean?
no, the neighbor that's going to take care of it, then the owner of the pool is responsible unless he shows that the reason the person got hurt was the negligence or fault of the one taking care of the property.
Yes, and
But then you know what comes to mind?
What?
There's so much to take care of a pool. Do they have a company that looks onto the pool once a week or every other day? Do they have does the one who's taking care of it, do they have to add chemicals? Do they have to do this? Are they supposed to do that? There's a lot to it. So depending upon who you represent, you can turn the responsibility either way.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell me, can you give an example, because you're a pool owner, what could a situation where the pool owner is responsible for somebody getting injured? Might it have something to do with chemicals in the pool? Maybe a kid swallowed it or something like that.
How about where they're having a group of people and the kid goes in the pool and nobody notices that he went in and under?
Yeah.
There's things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So who's responsible? Whoever was supposed to watch them.
Right. Well, generally speaking, when it comes to liability, if somebody is injured or property is damaged and someone else caused it, they would have to prove that the responsible person, the owner, was negligent in some way. So, for example, I don't think that the owner would be responsible if there were a bunch of kids in there and a kid went way under and they didn't notice, because the owner didn't create that. Now, if the owner said, just you and your family, nobody else, and they still brought in a bunch of people, then it would be the people who were taking care of the property who decided to use the pool.
It could also be that's not the reason he got hurt. It could be because your slide was broken there and you didn't tell us about it, and that's where he got hurt. So
then it would be the owner's responsibility.
Yeah, there you get there. But the pool. So there's a lot of. I don't think that anything is ever clear cut.
Never.
Clear cut. But the thing with the pool, the owner should list responsibilities. If there are children there, somebody has to be responsible. You have to put a name. In other words, be specific. Which reminds me of the dog case too. If the dog bites somebody, who's responsible? You're there. That's like we used to save these things to. What do we call them?
You got to be kidding.
You've got to be kidding. You were talking about getting that segment back because a lot of people have written that they like the "you've got to be kidding" because it's like funny, and it takes
Yes.
away from the seriousness, and who knows what we're going to come up with. But anyway, that's the thing. So you're watching the person's house. They have a dog. You bring your dog over. You know, they figure, well, why not? There's a dog in the house. Bring that over. My kid is here. He'll watch my dog, and we'll take care of the dog too. By the way, people pay for dog sitters come to the house.
Right.
There's money in that out there. I know somebody who's paying $50 a day for the person to just come in, cuddle the dog, and walk it.
Yes.
Because they're going away. But there's a whopper. But anyway, so the guy comes to the house, invited or uninvited. Then you got other things there, and the kid takes one of the dogs to the door, and he's growling. This dog is like, he wants to bite. Rah. So so the grown person says to the kid, "Does your dog bite?" And the kid says, "No, my dog doesn't bite." "Oh, okay." So the guy relaxes a bit, and then the dog bites him. And he says, "I thought you said your dog didn't bite." "He doesn't. This isn't my dog."
I always laugh even though I've heard it 1,000 times. Yes, and on other topics besides dogs and pools, this was something always on one of the insurance exams, right?
Oh, the insurance too.
so-
Yeah, that's your thing.
Right. So, for instance, let's say that you weren't home at the time and you had a sign that says private property, no trespassing, and somebody trespasses on the property, and there was a wire that was left on the lawn, but you couldn't really see it. So this person trips and falls and breaks his arm, right?
Now, is it a kid or is it a person? And did the wire or gate or the entryway invite itself?
There's all those
for
questions,
somebody
right?
to
Right.
just
Let's say it was just a plain, ordinary house. It didn't have any of those things. But the question is, because this person got hurt, whose fault is it? And who has to pay the medical bill? So there again, we have all these intricacies about it. Was it negligent on the part of the property owner because they left this wire there? Or were they not obligated because they said, do not enter private property, and the person trespassed
it's
anyway?
nothing to do with a pool either.
Nothing.
Right?
But it's the same idea. Somebody
Yeah.
trespasses on the property and they get injured.
Oh, so I would say it's at their own risk.
Yes, right.
But in the case of where the other person is taking care of the property and the wire is there, that's the onus.
That's right. It's the owners. Yeah. And so there again, we have a lot of questions about who was responsible.
Yeah, and you know what's going on today? Like years ago, lawyers didn't advertise. If you did, you got disbarred. But now they advertise, and with that, I think there's more cases out there, and more. They go beyond the simple. Well, I got hurt, my medical bills, and of course everything is higher and higher and higher. So they really beware. I don't know. So you get back. If you're going away and you're asking somebody to look at your property and they can use your pool, I don't know. I don't think that they should do that. Unless they go through the who knows what's wrong with your property. Other people might think there's something wrong, and you think, oh, well, we just do that. Like the hot water is labeled cold in the cold water, and they get burnt. But I don't know. I would be very, very careful unless they sign something.
A waiver?
The waiver. I'm using this at your own risk. And then they'll say, well, can you sign a waiver? It's a good case. That's a good case, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there's always, we think black and white, but there's always those gray lines in between, no matter how clear it sounds.
Yeah. Now, say the neighbor doesn't want to use the owner's pool because they hear too many things, and somebody wanders in there and gets hurt, who's responsible? Did the neighbor leave the door to the gate open by mistake?
Mm-hmm.
Invitation. I don't know. It's a lot of cases out there. You know, kid drowns even though the parents are standing right there.
Right.
There are a lot of things like that.
I remember when I was a child, my mother and I went to visit my mother's cousin and her family. They lived in Newton at the time, and I was still living in Rhode Island where I grew up. And they had a pool. The pool had a cover on it, but I was very small. I didn't know that was a pool underneath this, so I walked on it. I thought it was...
Oh, it depends if it was an elephant cover.
It was just a plain blue cover.
Oh.
And I didn't know, so I walked on it and I fell in the water.
Oh.
Fortunately, they saw me and they came right out.
Oh, boy.
But
What if they didn't?
let's suppose the worst case and I either drowned or something.
God forbid, yeah.
You could say that maybe it was the owner's fault, what they call an attractive nuisance.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a child, there's this nice blue smooth surface
Yeah,
in the
you don't know.
backyard. I didn't know it was a pool cover. It could be considered an attractive nuisance that a child might wander over there.
It is an attractive. The thing is, who's responsible, your mother or them?
Exactly. Who's responsible?
And then the question is, did your mother know there was a pool out there?
Probably not.
Did your mother watch the child like she was supposed to?
Right.
This or that. I mean, you can see where they'll just can make anything you want. You do. That's what I remember in the bar exam. You do, even years ago. You do answer 2 ways, and you're safe. You know, there's you take both sides, and you argue both sides.
Yeah.
There's they used to say there's his, hers, and the truth.
Yeah.
You were talking too about, you know, you had mentioned about estate, somebody asked about estate planning, and we are going to have an attorney who specializes in estate planning come on. Now see, I always specialize in estate planning, but everything is so different today that I don't lend myself out as an expert. I mean, I can take what anybody does and find some mistakes in it. But what's happening today is they're doing uniform probate laws, and everybody's trying to avoid probate and the estate tax. Do you know Massachusetts has, this is interesting, Massachusetts has an estate tax that if you leave $1 million, up to $1 million, like if it's $1 million and a penny, then everything up to that point is taxable, the whole million.
It's not just the excess over $1 million.
Yeah, everything.
All of it.
But the whole million. But if you just left $1 million, then you don't pay. So something like that. I might have it a little twisted up to, no, even if it's up to $1 million, it's over. Once it goes over, then I think everything is taxable. However, everybody's a millionaire today. Like if you think back even 20 years ago, I'm thinking back more than that, but years ago, if you made $5,000 a year, you made a good living.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the percentages on mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
That I remember 30 years ago, we were part of that. You could get 18%. But of course the houses were like, our first house we paid $12,000 for.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to say we overpaid 10. But but I mean, you can't find anything now. You can't find even a piece of land. But just to say, today everybody's a millionaire. It's nothing to have your house worth up to $1 million, or for people to make over 100,000. So Massachusetts, this is why they call it Taxachusetts. The other states have up to $3 million. So if you leave up to $3 million, you're not taxed. But why do you think a lot of people are moving out of here, going to New Hampshire? New Hampshire's the next state up. There's no tax there. There's no income tax. I don't think there's an estate tax. Then you go to Florida. There's nothing, and that's why they're going there. And there are some other states, Texas, but Massachusetts. I think there's only maybe 1 or 2 other states, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure the things will pour in that have these high taxes. And I remember saying to people, like a wife or something, they say, well, my husband worked all those years and he paid taxes. Why are they taxing me again? They shouldn't be doing that. And I couldn't think of a good answer because it's right, it's not fair. And then I said, well, it's a transfer. The property's transferring one to another. But there are ways around it. They do trusts. And then the trust, it's like the husband's a beneficiary. We assume he's going first,
Mm-hmm.
and then when he goes, it just goes automatically to the wife. So it's not transferring it. It transferred in the beginning to the trust, but the trust thing. But anyway, there's talk now that by November, by the end of this year, which is 2023, hopefully the tax on inheritance will change.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody out there should write their representative and senator and push for $3 million, because not everybody is a 3 million person. But I mean, when you think about it, everybody's, most people, when they go, they're up to $1 million. They got their, people have, like you're on the insurance. What do they have for insurance today? What are the average
Well,
policies?
you mean for the home?
For anything that people can collect before they pop off.
You're talking about life insurance?
Yeah, life insurance. They
Oh,
died as
yeah.
life insurance.
Oh, yeah.
There's insurance from an accident. There could be things. But I mean, it would be easy. They're just that. How about people do investments? You know, they invest in their IRAs and their this. They didn't have that years ago. They
Oh,
have
sure.
it now.
Right.
So it would be easy to accumulate up
Oh,
to $1
absolutely.
million.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, well, I mean, people could have $1 million in life insurance is not that high in today's standards.
Oh, yeah.
It isn't. So all of that kind of depends on the net worth and all of that stuff. But you're right, with inflation,
Yeah, and there's
That's
your
the thing.
inflation. I went shopping the other day, and just a few things, and I was so surprised at how high, like, like even I like this little candy, and it used to be in the dollar store. The dollar store, there's no more Dollar Tree. It's $1.25. They're up that high. Or I used to get my I like Cool Whip in the case there. One of the stores sold it for $1, $1.09. The cheapest now is $2 something. Everything's gone up. The only way to save money on your food is don't eat.
don't eat. Well,
Don't
I
eat,
know, I
yeah.
went food shopping the other day, and nothing extravagant. I spent almost $300.
Oh my God. Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't even spend
Nothing extravagant, really.
that. Oh my God. Where'd you get?
Just ordinary things, nothing extravagant.
Yeah, I go for a few things and it comes to 100. I remember they used to say $5 a bag, then it went up to $10 a bag, and now what is it, $20 a bag? You know what too? Potato sticks. They used to sell them by the can. You could get them for $1 a can. You can't find them anymore. You know, it seems that as soon as you find something you like, they take it off the market.
Yes, that happened to me when I went shopping. A certain type of all-natural, they call flapjacks, but they're like basically pancakes, but they're healthy. And we used to stock up on them, 4 or 5 packages.
Really?
And when I went the other day, there was only one left, because everybody's now buying those.
Are they all together?
3 in a package,
And they're 3 pancakes in a package?
but really thick ones, yes.
Oh,
But really healthy ones too.
I'll tell you, and I should go after them for donation. What do we got? 2 minutes left?
2 minutes.
I should go after them for a donation. I go every now and then. I discovered at Trader Joe's, which is fascinating. They're little pancakes this size, like dollar size, and they're not fattening, and you use a little fat-free sip to dip it in. Oh, they're so good. They're so good. Even my kids like them. They're so good. But I can't believe we just have 2 minutes left. But I'll talk about my daughter gave us a surprise visit.
That was so nice.
Yeah, and I can't mention what they like, but the 2 places they like to go, I don't eat at either one. And they just go there. You want some? No, thank you.
2 restaurants? Restaurants?
Yeah, one they like.
You could say the type of food, can't you?
Yeah, well, they like the pizza, then you would know. Don't say they like the pizza. I don't like the pizza at this place. And then the other thing is, I haven't eaten ice cream in years because it disagrees with me. But they like that. They have to hit these 2 spots. They hit these 2 spots. And one of them, a few flew in from Arizona. One of them took the train in from New York. That train is fantastic. You just get in there like that. But what else? We didn't even talk about what we're doing.
I guess that's going to be for another show.
Yeah. But that was fun anyway. You can
Yes,
wind up.
I think I'll wind up. This has been fun, going back so many years. Yes, it's been that long, and we're very happy and proud of what we've accomplished over
Yeah.
those years, which will be topic for another time.
You have 2 grandchildren now.
Yes, I do.
Of course, I started out with more kids than you.
Yeah, yeah, it's about right, I think. To our viewers, thank you very much for watching. We have a lot of fun, whether
Yes.
we're on the air or off, and we hope that'll continue for many more years to come.
Yeah, and we're putting back. You've got to be kidding. We did one.
We did
here.
that, yes.
We got a lot of. You've got to be kidding.
We love to hear from you. A lot of the things that we talk about are because viewers have asked us to,
Yes.
and they're fascinated by certain things, and we want to give our viewers what you want.
Say something nice about the cable TV show.
Oh, they're
here.
wonderful, and we're so happy to be in this new studio.
Right.
It's beautiful. So please let us hear from you. If you have any questions or ideas, we'd love to hear from you, because remember, this is your show, the law, your money, and you.